I welcome you to this video. In this video, I'll be showing you how to create grid line and not just create grid line. You will learn how to reduce the grid bubble and make the letter more professional. You also be able to change the color of the grid lines and the color of the grid bubbles to any color you like. And you will also be able to align the grid to the walls. And without further ado, let's get started. Now I want to place my grid line, and there are two ways I can go about that. I can use the icon. If I go to architecture tab, you will see grid on the top right corner of your interface. And if I want to draw now, I can now click on this place and draw it somewhere there, and I can use align to. If I go to modify, you see align to here. Click at the center of the wall and click align. Okay, then you can see the grid head on this side, but it's not existing on this side. So I need it to appear on this side. To make it appear on this side, you click on it, you select it, then click on this little box here, and the grid line will appear on both ends. Okay, now to create the remaining ones, what I normally do is I can now select it like this and create similar. Then I can pick line and set the offset to something like 3000 or whatever, and start picking this existing one. Start picking all these ones, and when you are done, you click on modify and you select all this one, click on this end so that the bubble will exist on that end too, and you keep checking all these boxes. All right, that is that. Then the next thing is to align them on selected walls. For instance, there are some important walls that you may want to align those grid to. I can align this one to this particular wall, or if I like, I can align it to this wall and align this particular one to this wall, then align the remaining one, this number 5 to this particular one, and then number 6 to this particular wall, and number 7 to this particular wall. You click the center of the wall, then you click on the grid line. All right. Okay, so the next thing is I also need those grid to be vertical as well. So I can use create similar. I can also use shortcut. I only need to type GR, and once I type GR, my grid line is activated already. So in this case, I will draw the vertical ones. I'll draw the vertical ones and check this box so that the bubble will appear on this end, and I'm going to select one of them and create similar. I'll be picking lines. If I like, I can pick this line. No. So sorry. I'm deleting this one for now. I'll select this one, create similar, pick line. I'll be picking grid, and I need to establish an offset of something like 1500. Any offset so far is not going to jam with each other. Just make sure that the offset gives them small allowance. Okay, this one is enough. So I'm going to select this point and allow the bubble to reflect on this end. Allow all of them to reflect on that end. Keep going. All right. Then the next thing I will do is to start aligning them to some selected walls, not all the walls. So I'm going to align it like this. I go to this particular one, align this grid line. Then I'm going to move all this one back and push. Okay, I will align this one to this. Then this particular wall is going to carry this, and this staircase wall will as well carry this, and this wall can carry this, and this particular one will carry this wall. Click on this, and the last one is this wall, and number 16 will go there. So the remaining ones, I'm going to delete them. Then the next thing is to label them appropriately. All the ones that are vertical like this, I'm going to name them alphabetical order. Starting from A, I'm going to on my cap lock so that they will be capital letter A, B, C, D, then E, F, G, H. Okay, then these ones are not in order because I'm supposed to start from number 1 and number 2, number 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, correct. Now if you go to the first floor now, if I go to first floor, you can see them here. Okay, you can see now that some of the walls that are not properly aligned, you can easily locate them and do something about it if you want to. Like this wall is closer to this grid and it's not aligned with this grid, so we can do something about it for the sake of structural stability. So I'm going to align that wall to that grid line so that the two of them will be on the same alignment. Okay, And the reason why this one is standing alone is that we have a cantilever there and we are good to go. And you can see now that this grid is not at the center of this wall, so I need to do something about it. What is wrong? Could it be that the grid on the ground floor is not in the right position? Let's check. If the one on the ground floor is not in the right position, then okay, now we have so many things here. Now we have the staircase, we have the wall. For me to be able to select the wall in this case, I will need to click on tab to be able to toggle it, to toggle all those things that are on top of each other. Okay. I am going to do something about that. The color of this wall is blue, and the selection when you are toggling is also blue. So what I will do is to go back and change the color of this wall back to black, so that we'll know when we are actually trying to select or to toggle. When you have so many things that are on top of each other and you want to click on tab to toggle it, you can see we cannot pick the wall now because the color of the wall is blue. So what I will do is to go to manage. I am now manage. I go to object style. Let me look for object style. Okay, this object style, and I'm going to look for wall. This is wall, and the color I'm going to change it back to black, so that I'll be able to know when I'm toggling between wall and other things. Okay, now if I pick my dimension now, and at this point I'm sure that what I'm picking here is wall, but on this point I'm not sure of what I'm picking because there is staircase and there is wall. So in that case, what I will do is to click on tab. If I click on tab, it will toggle between wall and any other things that is here. Okay, now you can now see now that what I've picked now is wall. So I can now drop my dimension, and I'm sure now that the wall is 225. I am sure now that the width of my staircase is 2400 mm. Then I am also sure that the grid line is at the center of this wall. So if everything here is correct, it means that where we now have problem is the first floor. It means that this wall is not in alignment with this grid. So I'm going to align that. I click on this grid and align this wall to the grid. Okay, and let's confirm the dimension of this staircase on this area. I am going to make sure I select wall on this end. Okay, I've selected wall now, and I go to this place. Also make sure what I've selected here is also wall. Okay, everything is correct. 2400. Okay, you can now see that this wall is aligned to grid line. This one is also aligned grid to center. Okay, if that is settled, and you can also see that if you look well, this wall also is not aligned to the grid. Now let's go back and check what could be wrong, because on the ground floor we can see that it is aligned to the center of that wall. It therefore means that the first floor is where the problem is coming from. So I'm going to align it properly. Correct. Okay, so that wall is aligned, and look again, look through if there is anyone that is not properly aligned to grid, so that it doesn't give structural engineers some problems. Okay, now we are done with aligning the grids, and if you want to be sure what you have done is correct, you can check it on your section. If I select this section now and right click and go to view, you will now see those walls that are properly aligned to the grids. You can see all these ones are properly aligned. All these ones that are supposed to be on the same line are aligned. Correct. Okay, so the next thing, what about the other side? If we click on this place, I can decide to move the grid, to move the section line to this point and view it if at all they are all aligned to the appropriate grid. Okay, from the look of things, they are aligned to the grid properly. Okay, but there is something that is not very correct here. That there's something I don't like with the grid. You can see now that the if for instance I want to print this drawing to a scale of 1000 to 150, I change the scale to 150 and see to 150. I click OK. Can you see that the grid bubble is extremely too large and is not looking professional? So what I'm going to do now is to edit the grid and reduce it so that it will be more professional. And what I'm going to do is, if for instance I select the grid now and I click on edit, and you see symbol, under symbol you click on this arrow, you can see the one we are using now is M grid head cycle. That is the particular one we are using at the moment, and that is the one that is giving us this kind of ugly, very big cycle that are jamming each other, that is not looking professional. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my project browser and locate family. This is family here. I locate it, click on this plus icon to expand it, and when I expand it, what I'm going to be looking for is that M grid. You still remember the name. When we click on this, that we went to this that time, we see M grid head cycle. So that is the one I'm going to be looking for here. First of all, I can see M here. The next thing is I can see M grid head cycle. That is exactly the one we are looking for now. So what I would do is to right click on it and click edit. Okay, so this is where we are going to be editing it, and I can save it so that it becomes my own copy. I'll click on application menu, save as, family. Okay, you can select the folder you want to save it in. This is our this is our tutorial folder. What if you want to save it in Revit folder? In that case, what you do is you select any of these. This is Imperial, detail Imperial. Okay, let's check this. Okay, this is a US Imperial. You can also click on this drop down. You go up a little bit, you go to library, then go to metric, then go to annotation, and you can save it here. And if you look at here, you will even see it here, M grid. Let's look for M grid and see. Okay, you can see it here, M grid cycle. That is the one we are working on at the moment. So now what I want to do is to save it as a copy. I'll save it as a copy. I'm going to add extra name to it, like Revit tutorial, Revit tutorial, okay, Revit tutorial. And the backup, I only need one backup, and click OK, then click save. Now I have saved it as a new copy. I can now tamper with it without tampering with the original. Okay, so at this point I can decide to change the font. Let's say I don't like this font. I click on edit, and the font they are using here is Arial. I can decide to modify it to something else. Like, what can I use? Something that will look depends on what you want. Something that look more architectural for you. Okay, let's say I want to use this errors bold ITC. Okay, if I assuming I want to use that, and I want to change the color to something like orange or whatever, if that is the color that appeals to you, and click apply. And you may want to make it bold, and if you like you can use the italics, but let's leave it like that for now. Okay, now you can see the color has changed to orange. And if you also see that text, if you select it, you will see that the background is opaque. If I like, I can select the background to be transparent and click. If you change it to transparent and it doesn't work well, you can come back and change it to opaque. For now, let's leave it as transparent. When it doesn't work well, we'll still come back and update it. Okay, then the cycle, I am going to reduce the cycle to something like, you can see the radius we have here is 6.5, and that is why it is extremely too large. So I'm going to reduce it to something like 3.5 and see how that is going to go for us. Okay, now this is more portable. So what I'm going to do is I can save it, because this is my own copy now, and load it into our project. This is the project we are working on, and click OK. Now it is in this project now, but it has not reflected in our drawing yet. To make it reflect, you simply select the grid and go to edit type, and go to symbol. Under symbol you see M underscore grid head cycle. You click on this space. Now you cannot see the one we have just created, and select that particular one and click apply, click OK. Correct. You cannot see that this is more unique. This is not like what Revit gave to you. This is unique. And If you want to change this line to something like color, you want to give it a color, you select it and click edit. This is where you can change the color. I love it to be green. If I want it to be green, that is that light green, and click apply, click OK. Now you can now see that the color is green, and if I want to change it to something else, let me change it to something else that is not green. What if I want it to be something like magenta? And click OK, click OK again. Here we go. Now you have magenta, and that is it. Okay, everywhere you go, if you go to your first floor, you see everything there. And as for this, you can always make them show. I'm not going to waste time on that. You can do it at your own leisure time. So you are a designer, you can tamper with it as you want. And if, for instance, I change the scale back to, okay, you can see the scale is even 150, and it's looking very sweet, it's looking okay. If I decide to change the scale to something that I want, it is still looking professional, and you can see they are not jamming each other. But if at any point in time you have done this, you have reduced the scale, the grid bubble, and they are still jamming with each other, what you do is, if for instance these two are jamming each other and you can no longer reduce the bubble again, you simply select that particular one, and you see a small zigzag somewhere here. You can see a small zigzag here. You click on that zigzag, and you can now take this out, so that you have a more professional presentation.